Okay, everybody, we should be ready to go here, and we're looking at the modules section. And as I want to make sure you understand, we will have, there's of course no class on Monday, which is Labor Day, but we will have a live stream session on the 6th of September, which would be that Wednesday. Of course, we have virtual Wednesdays, and we've talked about what we'll be doing there. I wanted to take the opportunity to let everybody know how happy I was with their work in terms of the Loudon Chapter 1 did a good job. Everybody did a good job on that, the case follow-ups and so forth. And I want to take the opportunity here, since we're not having class, but I do want to take the opportunity to just simply give you some feedback. Now, I'm not one of these people who believes that these case follow-ups and these projects are for me. They are for you. And so I really look to see, I'm more interested in the substance, if you will, than I am in making sure you have all of the, that it's a real pretty paper, okay? I'm not teaching an English class. This is MIS. So I'm more interested in the content. We had a couple of, I think, very interesting propositions to deal with. Certainly was the Home Depot case over there on page 35. And I want to spend some time giving you some feedback about it. And I do expect you to take a look at it. And this is the discussion about how they have renovated themselves and with some new ways of thinking and some new technologies. And the as you can see here at the very end, there are some case study questions for you to try to deal with. And I think there's some themes and some threads here in this in the Home Depot case that have some merit. Now, I'm going to take a look here for just a minute, and I'm going to go through some of our responses. I like to treat these like a seminar, and in a seminar, what we would do in a seminar is I'd share everybody's paper. Okay, so we'll pop this over here for a second, and I can go through these with speed grader. I want to take a look at them for just a moment, and they'll run out for us pretty fast. And I'll start with Shane. I'm kind of going through here. Shane, you did a good job, and I agree with you. I think the stores were pretty primitive in the 2000s. You're exactly right. And they have made quite a few technological improvements. And as you can see, the stock price, it's nice, good visual there. And then this is excellent. How they have tapped GE and Telsa to try to expand rooftop solar units, selling them. And that's kind of a smart thing for them to do, obviously. And a strategic partnership that they took, that they attempted in that tended to hit your radar. Nice job here in terms of the format of the references. They look good, but I'm mostly concerned that you see some very concrete examples in terms of how they've handled it. So good job. Take a look and see what John had to say. John, you did a series of good bullet points, and of course, and a key thing is, of course, tracking your inventory, and you provide the link over to Facebook, and I think your expectations are correct in the follow-up, that they're going to do everything they can to handle inventory, because they really are huge warehouses when you get down to it. And I'm glad to see here you're talking about them making that their expectations were met. So a very good job, nice job, well done. Let's see what Robert, you had some good observations there. Of course, we talk about how Home Depot was pretty low tech, and then they made this tremendous investment in IT, and I see you picked up on the enterprise software that they undertook and and I think it's actually, you mentioned this purchase of Black Locust, okay, and that's of course is a very competitive industry. Good insight. That's them trying to use technology in a decision-centric way. So you got a nice closing paragraph there, and you talk about the digital platform, the mobile platform, so a good insight. So far, everybody pretty fairly consistent in how they are seeing things. Brian, nice job here, and how good a good overview of how Home Depot early on had a competitive advantage in terms of location and being that one shop stops. They're kind of the Walmart, okay, for people. And then you see how they begin to the Motorola handheld devices and some of the other technological innovations that they're trying, and got some good source there. So I'm pleased with that. Again, what you guys are saying are pretty much what one would say. Now, Laney, good job here. A nice, very, very good chart. Okay, and obviously increasing their worth and how well they're doing. This is good. You took a look and went over to Forbes magazine and got some information, and that's the kind of thing I'm after in terms of a case follow-up. You go find what's the newer stuff, what's happened, how has this idea sputtered and died, or is it continued on, and offer some good information there, and this culminating in Home Depot being one of the most innovative companies of 2017, which is fascinating. But of course, they've utilized technology, and I think in class one day I might have shown everybody about Lowe's or talked about that, the things that Lowe's are doing to infuse technology. So again, here we see they're using. They're focusing on some specifics like customer service, like the handheld computers. So far so good, and we'll see what Grant did a fine job. Provided some tremendous information here in terms of the valuation of the company and some of its trading data. Excellent job with all of that, and providing us some good documentation about the growth of the company. Now, what I was looking for also here was, how are they using technology, and so responding to some of the case questions. Now, I just want to say this to everybody, as you go through, and remember, you follow, the motivation, and obviously there are no other motivations. You want to get this stupid thing done. I get it, listen. But some key aspects of it, and they have had some real dramatic improvements. And I like how you bring in, chapter 1 there in the text, and how we try to use IT for MIS to achieve strategic goals. As we link information systems together. And again, you've got some good sources there, and you found the article in Forbes, and that's good, because, and I expect this, you're going to see this. I think the RDC, the Rapid Deployment Centers, that's interesting stuff, and that is kind of a way to get the company supply chain revitalized, and that's very important. You talk about what was going on in social media. Good job there, and how they're using that to build on their information presence. And again, a good job as far as expectations. You wanted to see personally, and I guess one of the ways for you, and I should have said that, was see was to go there and see what, how do they treat you? What is it like in the ground there? One of the things I would mention is I like the references. I'm not a big stickler about APA, but in this case, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and provide a more formal looking reference than just simply the link. But that's okay. Like I said, I didn't count off anything like that. And what I expect everybody's going to come up with some similar kinds of ideas. I think you would, and you should. And you're trying to hear about this is excellent, Luke, because you bring in the socio-technical view that Loudon talks about. This is excellent. I like to see link between theory and practice, and I think that's extremely important. So I hope you guys are listening, that you hear the positive feedback. You're doing the kinds of things that I want you to do. And again, these cases are not for me, they're for you to learn about digging sources out and to see how companies are trying to use use information systems, MIS, to build their portfolio, to meet their strategy. And again, got an article here from Mulrooney's studies. It's quite good, and I'm real happy to see I would like to have seen some references here. We could have used those, so you'll want to kind of take a look at that in the future. Let's go, Brandon. Again, some good things here, and pretty much the same observation. And this is, of course, is in terms of what's going on with them in terms of their growth and Home Depot's push to become technologically savvy. And did a good job here. I would like to have seen maybe a little bit better reference than just simply a URL link. And I think the solar panels thing, that's an interesting way they're trying to build a strategic partnership. Again, here's case follow-up. Miranda, you did a good job with it, and the solar panel project is a strategic partnership that they've undergone, that they're involved with, and one that they're trying to push. And again, good job there with that reference. Very, very nicely done. So far, as I look through them, I saw some very good ones. Sam, pretty good job, and talking about, again, what happened at the turn of in the 2000s as Home Depot realized they had to get in the game. And this is, of course, the new CEO, Nardelli, who came in, and then Frank Blake, who took over. So you see where they kind of lost their competitive edge versus Lowe's. You picked that up. So you've got some good observations here. And I think it's interesting this winter of 2010 when Lowe's was out of inventory and Home Depot had it. And it's really interesting that the phones that Waikaki's using any and every technology they can get their hands on. Again, some references here would certainly be good. And I'm not being a big stickler about this, but I'd like to see them. Trevor, thank you. Good job here. You answered all the questions I asked, provided a lot of information here, and of course that article on over in Tech Republic. Again, we've seen some references from Fortune and then also from Tech Republic. So this is what I'm after, that you learn, how to kind of call out and go find these sources, and also bringing in Home Depot's financial data. Again, Home Depot is a company. They had some specific strategic objectives they wanted to get accomplished, and the handheld computers were a big piece of it. So very, very good with that. Rhett, very, very good job here as well. And again, looking at the stock, and it's incredible. Yes, they handle 600,000 items. So this business about managing their inventory is extremely crucial in the inventory system. And again, you provide some good data in terms of their growth and how IT has paid off for them. So, I'm very happy there. The reference is done very well. Good job, Red. Hudson, as always, I expect you're going to do some good work for me, and you do. You've got some data from NASDAQ, and you're right. I think it's a pretty fair observation that Lowe's remains a little bit ahead of the Home Depot, and I can see that as a customer how it affects you. Some great data there, and one of the interesting things is that Lowe's, and you mentioned this here, is hiring more people for their stores to try to provide as much assistance to people as possible. And again, I would hope to have seen some references there, but not too bad. Okay, so Home Depot is one of these companies that went through a metamorphosis, had to go through some changes. And this is Allison. Allison, you've got some good observation, again, some data on stock data, and this is excellent versus Lowe's, the price to cash flow multiple. This is one of the things that we struggle with in MIS is figuring out, how does it pay off? Is it worth the investment? So you've done a good job here with Home Depot and providing that data. Good job, set of references. Very, very, very good. Okay. Jason, same story there. And increases in standards as well as increases in technology. Good job. Very, very, very good job. So you guys have been doing the work. Some references there, though, could have improved it a little bit. I'm not seeing anything there that's not, that's not off the tracks. All of you are getting a picture or a sense of the case. There are some nuances of it, but the handheld devices was one of those things which kind of becomes a symbolic issue or symbol when the people try to undergo or try to take MIS and improve it or really infuse it into a company. And again, and excellent. I see the Alex. I see the reference over to retail news. Good job, nicely done. I like that. I'm seeing you guys learn how to go out and find some trade papers, industry publications, not just formal academic stuff. And that's good because you're going to need that kind of information out there. And the writing all looks good, so I'm real happy with it. Jonathan, the same story here. Good job. The only thing I wish you to put those references into a little bit better format. You'll want to go look at that and see how to handle electronic references. Go into Microsoft Word and it will show you in that references tool. But otherwise, I think this is good. Where you pull in Jim Kramer, his observations. I'm quite happy with that as well. Okay, and we'll pop on through here. I think that pretty much does it for all of us. Okay, Amanda, got nicely done here, and again, this the store investment plan, the technology plan, provides some good information about what's going on with them, and I think it's interesting. Amanda's saying she didn't expect Home Depot to be very high tech or use high tech, but you got to, because as I mentioned, the customers themselves are coming in with phones, and you've got to handle the inventory and all that business. So nicely done, Amanda. I'm glad that was an insight for you. Dalton, a good job here, and giving us a screenshot of what's going on with them. Okay, And the Home Depot app, that's another one of those things that they've done, real recognizing. Interesting, it was #1 in 2016, which tells you that Home Depot is really making some inroads among people when they're adding the apps to their phones. So some good idea, good stuff there. And this is a good example, and the navigation there in the app, very, very important. The only thing missing here would be a list of references. We can grab that next time. And Martin, very good job here. Okay. And again, I think this is interesting. He points out something that they reduced the number of truckloads they had that they shipped this year, cut down on carbon emission, etc., and making their supply chain, the carbon footprint, a lot smaller. Nicely done. The works cited down here, need to go back in and find out how to handle electronic references, but on the whole, very, very, very good work. And all I can say is all of you are meeting my expectations in terms of what I'm after. Here's good Yamil. Yamilix. And I apologize if I'm garbling your name, Mr. Sanchez. I am so sorry. But again, here we are. This is excellent. Got a nice job with the logo, giving us a nice table here of the POS system, the website, and the apps, and the IT advances. Okay, and talking about the advances that Home Depot is doing there. So it's quite good. That chart's quite good, and glad to see it do that. And of course, this is from the textbook, and so you saw tying in that idea from the text, tying them together. So that's good. And then this is, of course, it looks like the article from what's going on with Home Depot, or either that or it's Lowe's Innovation Lab. Look, I guess it's Home Depot. Again, what I'm really happy with is Mr. Sanchez's, or Ms. Sanchez, excuse me, pardon me, is I'm so sorry. My brain is just not working today. The way you've brought in step by step how they've done this. So very, very good. And again, my apologies. I'm so sorry. It's Saturday night at 6:15 on Labor Day weekend. And I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I want to go ahead and have this ready for you guys before we did the live streaming on Wednesday. Brian, you did a good job there. Give us some of the background in terms of the personnel changes and at Home Depot, and that becomes so important, because if MIS does not have corporate support, okay, then you're going to find that the top support, level of top management support, it's just not going to go anywhere. One of the interesting things you're finding, and I mentioned this in classes, that technology is obsequious. In other words, it flows where it flows. And so if your customers are all coming in and they're expecting to have apps on the phone, you're going to create apps. If your competitors are really tightening their supply chain and using advanced technologies to lower supply chain costs and increase supply chain performance, you got to get with the picture. So it's not one of these where you just choose what you want. It usually flows to you, usually from a competitor. So you're seeing it even in an operation, a retail operation like these guys. Kedron, good job here. Again, talking about the behavioral approach and how that issue is so very, very important. And I would like to see maybe a little bit better on the reference there, but you can do it yourself. The do-it-yourself videos are not too bad. I've used a few of them when I bought stuff, and I think they're pretty smart to have those. Sam, good job with yours and with your analysis of the case. And again, you know, good information there in terms of the company, its performance. Okay, and yeah, I think it's fair to say that the technology, and this is really good when you're talking about how they intend to spend their money. Core capital spending outlook for Home Depot. This is excellent. I think I've seen this in a couple of others. This really is well done. So I can't tell you overall some of the references. Okay, putting them in the proper format is important. But what I'm seeing that I really like is the use of trade papers, Forbes, all kinds of sources like that are going to give you an overall picture. And Christian, I guess I pronounced your name correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. But again, here, good how we moved everything from doing it by hand to electronics, building the hardware infrastructure. Again, good work here, and some good information there from the Wall Street Journal. Again, I would want to see a list of references. That would be good. Houston, this is good, and I think that the really good insight you've got here, and how they use the handhelds to move them out of that paper and pencil type of system. That's very important, and you'd be surprised how many companies still use that. Now, you do a great job of talking about the impact of Blake and what he had to do. Some good information about what it's trading at, and the fact that their stock has tripled, and you're shocked to hear the inefficient methods that are being used by Home Depot. They are an elite company, and what this tells you, Houston, and everybody else who's listening in on this, Houston, you've really hit something important. Big companies are not necessarily savvy at their MIS. Okay, they just simply are not, because we still haven't really figured out good models for infusing it. In other words, the technologies that we have, okay, are outstripping our ability to figure out how to use them. Okay, and so you're being shocked at seeing that it makes some sense. And you're right; it should have been taken care of by the CEO for a long time. But it's difficult for people to infuse MIS into strategy. And because they get focused on a particular software or on a particular machine or on a particular process. And really, the reason we have you take this course is so that you get the big picture, okay? And so that you can understand how you're creating systems, okay, that work and work together. So nicely done, Houston, very clear. I wish we'd had some references there, but that's okay. Libby, as I was expecting, good job here. Excellent, very well, beautifully formatted, put together. And I think this is interesting, talking about the Craig Minier and his work, and good job in terms of giving some background and the personnel changes there, and what's been going on, and how that's had an effect on the company's e-commerce. And again, good documentation in terms of their investments in IT and what they're doing with that money. Okay, and this is excellent. Good. This is a good idea, and my compliments to Libby for pulling out this Facebook page, because they're using it to try to recruit personnel And so they're trying to take it and layer it on top of some of their existing recruiting practices. So again, as you said, what you're going to hear me say many times is a lot of times companies just don't know what to do with these technologies. They don't know how to get them to work together or coordinate them in sync. And so again, good job here, and you did a good job of tech on that. Very, very nicely done. Good summary. Excellent. Very, very good. Libby, great job at everything in this case follow-ups. Very, very pleased with it. Eric, excuse me. Good job here. Again, we see these themes. Okay, the moving from pencil to paper and moving on to apps, to the website, etc. What typically happens is the internal technologies change, and then somebody says, well, everybody has a website today, and everybody has apps and all this stuff, but it's how you coordinate and work those things together, okay? Why, and knowing why you have them and what to do with them. Okay, and Kincaid, good job there. Taking a look here, and again, social media, this is good, okay? Okay, looks like out there, their Twitter sphere, very, very good, because they are trying to make a concerted effort to get out and get in the flow of that conversation. And we see another is again following right on the bullet points, and this is a good insight right here. When companies lose their competitive advantage or think they have, they tend to then look for a silver bullet. It might be a new product, it might be a new CEO. Many times today, it's just simply saying, okay, we probably need to improve our technology. And it was, I think you're exactly right when you talk about how the place was looking more like a lumberyard than an upscale place. And look, the major customers that most of the Lowe's and Home Depot are after today is not some contractor out here. It's the general public, okay? And as you have more and more women who are, working full time, owning a home, taking those kinds of responsibilities, okay? They're not going to shop in the same way that men shop. They're just not going. They're going to want things to be attractive. They're going to want things to be accessible. They're going to want stuff to look like an apartment store. Okay, frankly, and that's because they've been conditioned to expect that. Just like people that are, I think fascinating are these places like Pep Boys and folks who sell automobile parts. You have a certain kind of person that comes in and buy automobile parts, okay? And those stores have an ambiance to them, okay, that just doesn't cry out, hey, high tech, high tech, high tech. Although they may be using it, you get a sense that, it's just kind of a local guy in shade tree mechanic, and he got a job, and he's working over here, and we've got, or they order stuff for people or for parts. It's an interesting type of thing, but when people have expectations created, they want them met. So nicely job here, very, very good job, and this is this exhibit showing that system, the value system. You're exactly correct. Nice. Okay, very, very good. I like that for sure. Quite good, and seeing those linkages. Okay. Here's Tucker, and again, Tucker, pretty much following, and this business pencil is king. Yeah, that one they had to go bye-bye on that one. I cannot tell you how that handheld technology so changed Home Depot. And what's amazing to me, okay, is that Home Depot, it took them 10 or 15 years to really discover that and use it. You know, in the late 80s, the middle and late 90s, by the middle 90s, people like Hertz and Avis were using handheld computers that were linked into a server as they were assigning cars, and they'd walk out literally, you know, you'd swipe and you put in your credit card data, and boom, you'd go. Or you could rent the car right there. And how many times did their executives travel and see this? It not dawn on them, gee, we need to have people roaming in the aisles doing this stuff, and let people check out right. Let them pay for their stuff right on the spot. But hey, you know, it's going to take them some time to get there. So nice job, Tucker. I would hope you next time you'll throw some references in there. I'm not all that big of a stickler, but I do like to see them. And you know, yeah, the top management has always got to be the people who take the lead in this. It just doesn't happen from the bottom up. All right, well, that's pretty much it. And let me take us back over here for a moment. We'll take off the case follow-ups, and we'll go back to the home. Okay. And again, as I mentioned, you know, there is no class on Monday. It's Labor Day. Okay. So that's, you know, that's kind of on the, that is kind of out. Then of course the week next, this coming Monday, the 4th is Labor Day, so there's no class. So we'll have a web meeting on the 6th. Okay. And if I decide to pre-record it, I'll do so. But I wanted to kind of consider this our class. Consider this webcast, screencast, a substitute for what we're going to do on for what you would have had on Monday, so you could take a look at it. And I wanted to give you some good feedback. My suspicion is that many times you get beat up about your writing a lot. I'm not teaching business communication here. I'm teaching MIS. Okay, and so I haven't seen anybody. The only thing I've seen that's bugged me a little bit is two things. One, electronic references not properly formatted, and you can do that using Microsoft Word. Okay. Secondly, not having references at all. Other than that, I'm extremely happy with one, the fact that you're really grasping what the cases are about. Okay. Number two, your writing is good. I haven't seen anybody that wrote anything that was terribly garbled, so that's very impressive. And number three, I see you utilizing a lot of good reference, a lot of good information material, references other than just the book, but trade data, financial data, articles from places like Forbes, stuff from Kramer, good stuff. So I'm really, really happy with that. Okay, and I had and for our discussion back, you know, we talked about aloud in chapter 1. So consider this kind of a substitute for what we would have done on Labor Day, and I'd like you to look at it because I want you to know how happy I am with the work that I'm seeing you do. Now, I plan to live stream on Wednesday, which would be the 6th. Okay, and if we're not, I will do a pre-recorded. If we're not going to live stream, I'll let you know well in advance. I plan on live streaming, and you say, well, what are we going to do? Well, I want to talk some about what's in chapter 2 and loud. Okay, and hopefully we'll have enough of you there. We can have some discussions about your case follow-up number 2, because I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about that. Now, you're going to see something, and you're going to see me keep giving you a case follow-up. Should the computer grade your essays and upload it here. And then I added this again, page 70, or choose one. Okay, and so here's where I'm coming from. All right, if you want to, this is going to be a little different. If you want to do, okay, that should your computer grade your essays, that if you wanted to do a case follow-up where you where you looked at the bad parts of that, and then in the next case follow-up, you did the good parts of that, or one perspective. So if you wanted to string that case together over 2 case follow-ups, I'm good to go. Or if you want to deal with one that's the world's top retailer, I'm okay by that. Okay. But what we will do for sure, if I live stream or if we pre-record, we'll talk about chapter 2, and we'll go from there. Okay. Well, listen, I appreciate your time, and again, I hope that I'm going to be sending all of you a notice that this is out here. This is in lieu of our class on the 4th, which is obviously Labor Day. So if you want to take a look at it, please do. It's not required, but I think you'd want to see how everybody else is doing. And again, I'm doing this like a seminar where we'd all exchange papers. That's what a seminar is. Most people don't know that. Where you write a paper about a topic and everybody comes and exchanges papers, the instructor, and then people talk. So I'll be interested when hopefully I want to do the live stream Wednesday afternoon, so we can have some of us there and have some discussion. I certainly intend to talk about a lot about chapter 2 and loud. Well, folks, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Again, this is in lieu of the class that we would have had on Monday, which is Labor Day. So, hey, I'm here working on Saturday night. I don't even get to see the end of the OU football game. There's baseball, all stuff. So, look, you see how dedicated I am? I know you're choking up about to cry. I'm kidding you. Listen, folks, have a good one. And I will see you online Tuesday, or I will have a pre-recorded screencast for you to take a look at. But my hunch is I'll live stream. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.